My name is Leighton. 2 years ago, I stood before this council to highlight the issues surrounding illegal drug use inside the transit shelter and washrooms at 35 Albert Street. While there were concerns prior and the constant and continuous use exploded just after the town authorized the use of this facility as a temporary homeless shelter during the early and extreme snowstorm on November 19th, 2022. At least 20 people and their dog took refuge inside. They were supervised by volunteers. It was occupied for 2 days and 2 nights, and when the weather cleared, it took multiple police and bylaw officers hours to remove the occupants and their belongings. Subsequently, I found out that during those 2 days, illegal drugs were being consumed inside the shelter under the watch of volunteer supervisors. At the same time, Transition House had beds available. Volunteers tried to place 6 people there, but these individuals were banned from Transition House, possibly due to their violent behavior. So instead, they were grouped together within a stone's throw of my home, our condo building, and unsuspecting neighbors. After that, it was as if permission had been granted for illegal drug users to use this transit shelter as their home base. As a result of that delegation, the facility was initially monitored by bylaw officers over the Christmas season, then closed. 2 porta potties. Can you hear me okay? Let's see if I'm cutting it out. 2 porta potties were installed since it was determined that public washroom facilities were a human right. One was a larger unit for wheelchair access. Over the next year and a half, these porta potties were more often used for illegal drug consumption than by the public needing a break. The larger unit was favored since it allowed for groups. I witnessed a guy who was unable to use either one of the porta potties since they were occupied by illegal drug users, so instead, he urinated on the side of the building. There are times when a member of the unsuspecting public would use these facilities just after a group of illegal drug users exited. I'm talking within 30 seconds sometimes. Now that the facilities have been reopened, the newly renovated washrooms provide a large, warm, and private environment for illegal drug users who camp out in them for hours. After they leave, what is left behind? Drug paraphernalia, drug residue. This is a serious safety issue. The week I decided to submit this delegation, a well-known illegal drug user had been removed by police multiple times a day over a 3-day period of time. He was a mess, no shirt in cold weather, stomping around and yelling. The week prior, he had refused to exit or acknowledge his presence to police. A paramedic team was there for at least 30 minutes as they waited for bylaw to come and unlock the door. Of course, the concern was that this person had OD'd and was possibly vital signs absent. Luckily, that was not the case. Once bylaw arrived with the key, out he came with his bike, and on his way he went. What a waste of emergency services. On another recent occasion, the same individual refused to exit after police arrived, and after waiting 20 minutes, the officer left, I assume, to go on to a more pressing call. So if the intention is to supply a safe, accessible facility for the general public to relieve themselves, it's failing. The effects of having unmonitored facilities such as this go beyond just the usage of the washrooms. It attracts groups of illegal drug users where their dealers can easily find them. Dealers who may have weapons, as evidenced in the shooting at the West Beach in the summer of 2023. It discourages law-abiding citizens from using Rotary Park. I witnessed a mother with her 2 young children who wanted to run and play around the frink, but because the illegal drug users were loitering around the edges, she reluctantly moved on. I wish this wasn't an us and them, but it seems like we're placing less value on the rights of 99.9% of the community in favor of a few who have no concern or incentive to follow societal norms and rules. And what about the homeless who are not illegal drug users? What resources are left for them? Why do I care so much? Well, I'm not the only one. Many of my fellow residents are here with me tonight. Our building looks onto the park and is disturbing to see dancing zombies and drug dealers ostensibly going about their business without fear of repercussion. Many of us here today chose to move to the quaint town of Cobourg and invest our life savings in these homes. Collectively, I guesstimate that our building footprint contributes at least $400,000 per year in tax revenue to the town of Cobourg. We also want to contribute to the local economy, to shop on the street, eat at the restaurants frequently, events and feel safe. When we bought our place, we asked our real estate agent about crime. Do we need to lock our bikes up in the garage? She responded with a laugh, no, it's Cobourg. That was 2018. Since then, we've had multiple bike thefts in our building. We've had to hire foot patrol security at times and spent tens of thousands of dollars on a new security camera system. I've been told it's happening everywhere, just accept it as normal. I don't believe that. I don't want to accept that we should just sit back and let the forces of evil take over. I don't want our neighborhood to deteriorate and become another downtown Eastside Vancouver, because it's a slippery slope. Plus, it's not everywhere in Cobourg County anyway. Will we be accused of NIMBYism? Perhaps, but we'll be in good company since it's clear that the mayors of all the other towns in Northumberland County aren't interested in locating shelter services and the associated legal drug use issues that come with them in their backyards. In fact, a local minister who advocates for the illegal drug users won't open the door of her facility, responding to Mayor Cleveland's suggestion that faith-based organizations help to provide a stopgap during the 310 negotiations. She wrote, "Don't even get me started." To which I replied, "Hypocrisy. Please start." The cost of goods and services to help illegal drug users just in Cobourg alone must be enormous. Millions spent to acquire and renovate 310 Division, tax-funded harm reduction supplies, free naloxone, disproportionate use of EMS services, additional security cameras, vandalism, trash donations that I see lying on the street, cleanup of storefronts of town property, increased insurance premiums resulting from theft, loss of revenue from local businesses. I was told that even the congregation at Trinity United Church has decreased. And what of the toll it's taking on our community's mental health? Not to mention the taxpayer-funded government payments in the form of ODSP to illegal drug users who in turn may use these funds to purchase illegal drugs. By the way, has anybody considered the victims along the drug manufacturing supply chain line? Forced labor, child labor? Out of sight, out of mind, I guess. On CBC Metro Morning this past Monday, Matt Galloway discussed the issue of involuntary treatment to help people with mental health and addiction. He interviewed the Mayor of Windsor alongside an advocate for illegal drug users. This mayor is a proponent of mandatory rehab. The advocate stated that mandatory rehab doesn't work. The point eventually was made that the current system doesn't work either. There was no acknowledgement that in the meantime, while waiting for the illegal drug users to decide they want help, if in fact they have the wherewithal to do so, they are free to wreak havoc on the community at large. There is some help available. During a chat I had with the Cobourg officer, Janice McDonald, she told me that there is a dedicated bed for those in Northumberland suffering from addiction, a 30-day detox bed. It's not perfect, but it's there. Unfortunately, it's not always in use. The scope of the illegal drug use issue is vast and unfathomable, which is why I'm focused on my square inch of the world, the washrooms at 35 Albert Street in Rotary Park, directly across from my home. In a way, I equate this to managing the 1980s crime wave of New York City. A large part of restoring public order was to clean up the graffiti. The thinking was that if the government was unable to control these minor crimes, it was a signal to citizens that more serious ones could not be handled. By the same token, if our town is unable to prevent illegal drug users from taking over 2 public washrooms, what does that say for the management of bigger crimes? In all fairness, though, I give full credit to the police who are very responsive to my calls and concerns. In my experience, they are also respectful to those suffering from drug addiction. In the past, I've spoken and tried to reason with the illegal drug users, to no avail. I've now lost my patience. At this point, I will do everything in my power to prevent the distribution, consumption, and normalization of illegal drug use in my neighborhood. Here's my recommendation. I suggest that washrooms be continually monitored by police and bylaw officers every time they drive by, and I see them drive by. Security hired for 310 Division should have set up regular visits at 35 Albert Street, since it is within 450 meters of that facility. Many of the people who use 310 Division are likely the illegal drug users who take over these washrooms. Police and EMS services should be provided a key so they don't have to waste time waiting around for bylaw to open the washroom should there be somebody in it. In conclusion, I want to say that I didn't want to come here. I'm not so naive this time, and I fear the repercussions that are bound to come to me. I reconsider considered how blunt I wanted to be, but in the end, I decided that if I was going to speak,